this morning we make a final stop to get one last good look at this breathtaking scenery in Geiranger. Last night I charged up at the campsite at 13 amps, just a regular socket, but it still got me like 154 kilometers additionally, so that's more than enough to get us today over Trollstigen and into the supercharger of Aalesund, where we will charge up and then do some shopping, and then we're off to Aalesund, where our next stop is. And then the day after that we go to Farstad, which is near the Atlantic Road, so I'm looking forward to that as well. It should be really breathtaking as well as a road with all those bridges. But first stop, Trollstigen. We are currently now at the viewpoint over Trollstigen. So now our next stop is that we're going to go way down there, which is about a 700 meter drop, and let's see how many kilometers we gain going down. Maybe we'll take a stop or two along the way, so that will influence it a little bit, but it's quite a steep road, so that should get us quite some additional kilometers once we get to the bottom of this. And yeah, so let's take a couple of shots and then we're off to our next location. We are now here at the Aalesund supercharger. So coming down from Trollstigen, we started at the top with 223 kilometers. It was an 11 kilometer drive more or less, and at the bottom of Trollstigen we got 234 kilometers. So that's 11 kilometers driven and 11 additional kilometers gained. So that's yeah, 22 free kilometers again. That's the nice thing about driving in the mountains and driving with an electric car, of course. So now we are charging up, and we're going to get some food in the meantime, and then we're off to our little house where we stay for one night. So yeah, let's go. We are now at the top of Fjellstua, which is the building behind me there, which is a nice viewpoint and a 418 step hike up this little mountain here. It gets a nice view over the city of Aalesund, and down there you have these specific colored houses. That's where we will go next, and then this afternoon we'll visit the aquarium. Something peculiar. When we entered the city, we looked for a parking garage, and when we found one, we noticed that we didn't get any ticket when entering. So we were wondering, like, how am I supposed to pay for the right amount when we leave this afternoon? But apparently your license plate is scanned, and you just have to enter your license plate, and that will then calculate the right price from when you entered until you leave. So that's nifty. We could use that in Belgium as well. I think that's a very good system. So yeah, so now going down again to the city center, and then this afternoon we'll go to the aquarium and watch some sharks being fed as well. So now we are charging up in Ørskog, where there's a brand new supercharger, and unfortunately I just spoke to the owner. Unfortunately, like 2 days after it opened, like 2 weeks ago, somebody drove his tow hook into the stall and it's already damaged. So yeah, that's a shame. But he also told me that apparently I'm the first Belgian to visit this one. So I didn't get a badge for it or something, but yeah, it's nice to know that I'm the first at the supercharger for once. So we're charging up a little bit here, not too much, but just to be on the safe side. Normally we should be able to charge on the next campsite in Farstad, but I'm not taking any chances here. So we're passing it along the highway anyway, so we're charging up for about 10 minutes. And then we're off to the Atlantic Road, where we hope to still have some good weather this morning. This afternoon it should rain there, so we try to get there before noon, take some good shots as well. And then in the afternoon it will be indeed a very relaxing afternoon, where the kids can play a little bit by the beach, because our campsite is near the beach there. Yeah, so that's good for them as well, because yeah, it's difficult for them to constantly be in the car. So yeah, we need to do something for them as well. So charging up, and then we're off again. We are now on a huge ferry across the Moldefjord. This one can take, I think, about 100 cars. So yeah, that's a big one. It's also a really soft one. You don't hear the engines as much, and it's not shaking that much. So yeah, it's a nice ride, but it takes about half an hour to cross the fjord. And then luckily we made it just in time, with a few minutes to spare. Otherwise we'd have to wait for like half an hour on the ferry. So that buys us a little bit more time to get to the Atlantic Road before noon. this very chilly morning today, and a very grey morning. We woke up to temperatures of around 14 degrees Celsius, which is like 6-7 degrees colder than what we're used to in the past few weeks. But in this location I was also able to charge my car using a power socket, which means that I'm charging at 12 to 13 kilometers an hour. And since we arrived yesterday in the mid-afternoon, that means that by this morning I regained 212 kilometers, which is more than enough to get us to Trondheim, which is our next destination, where we visit the city a little bit and then we'll go swimming with the kids. So yeah, been charging quite a bit of supercharger grid, mostly at the houses, mostly on a socket, which gives me between 10 and 13 kilometers an hour of charging. But if you can leave your car overnight, then that's more than enough to get you to your next destination. So yeah, cool, awesome. We are here now at the supercharger in Aalesund, which is close to Trondheim. I don't really need to stop here, but I was feeling really tired, so we coupled the useful to the fun part and charge up a little bit while I rest a little bit, and then at the same time we'll grab a little bite. This supercharger is kind of funny because I've got two temporary stalls here. But over there you've got let's see, 2, 6, 8 more stalls that are there, but the stalls are paired like you can park front and back, but you can't easily get from here to the back of it, so you have to go back to the road, up a roundabout, and then you turn another road just to get to the other side of the supercharger. So not really convenient, I would say. But yeah, they're here and you can use them. So now let's grab a bite, get a small piece of rest, and then we're off to Trondheim. Currently in Trondheim, the old city center, with this old bridge where I'm standing on, with these beautiful gates behind me. Now on the other side of that bridge, so what you don't see is that there is a bike lift, an electric bike lift. So you have to put your foot down on some device, and then the bike will, or then that device will push on your right foot, and it will push you all the way up the hill, which is yeah, it's kind of fun to watch, and it's a little bit of a tourist attraction as well. But yeah, so we took the kids for a nice swim in a huge swimming pool here in Trondheim. We're sightseeing a little bit, getting some food, and then we're off to the hotel. Well, this morning my wife and I got into an argument, and she told me to go to hell, so here we are. Now, all kidding aside, this is a real town. It's kind of funny. They even got, you see it at the back right there, they even got this like Hollywood sign letters saying hell as well. so they have some fun with it themselves. But I'm going to charge up a little bit more so we can get to Alfdal tomorrow. The hotel doesn't have any chargers on a parking space available, unfortunately, so I have to go to the supercharger, but that's only like 4 or 5 kilometers from here. So yeah, so that's not really a problem. And in the meantime, I'll keep myself busy doing some video editing and stuff, so no worries there. It will take me about half an hour just to get enough to get to Alfdal tomorrow, where we go via Røros, which is a mining town. And yeah, then we are on our way home. So this is the farthest point we're doing on this trip, and as of now we are going home gradually.